Okay, we have another battle report here. This time it's a 2250 game between my Bretonnians and an Orc and Goblin army. And it's part of our campaign. It's a hostage scenario, which really just means it's a regular game, except we had to dedicate one of our characters to guarding a hostage. And the hostage was an additional character we got for free, but you really couldn't do a whole lot with it. So for instance, if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you can see my BSB out of the unit with a model next to him. That's me holding his guy hostage. So, and there are points based on what happened to the hostage. I think you got the most points if you killed him in round 4 or something like that. And I think you got points if you liberated your hostage from the other guy. But going into it, I figured that was those points weren't going to be a major deal. It'd probably be best just to treat it as a normal game. So if you look at the field, we have woods on the right, we have 3 hills, and then a building on the left. Looking at my opponent's army, he's got I think it's called a scrap launcher on the right, spider riders, bolt thrower, wolf riders. Behind the hill he's got more wolf riders and another bolt thrower. He's got some goblin archers. He's got a huge unit of trolls. He's using some ogres as proxies, but I believe he has 8 trolls and they're joined by some character on a boar. Behind them he's got a big unit of orcs. He's got his BSB with them, and you can't really see it, but my hostage is in there too. Then he's got another unit of orcs. He's got some goblins behind them, and then some more wolf riders on the side. So on my side I've got 2 different units of Pegasus Knights on my right flank, some skirmishing bowmen, Grail Knights with a damsel. There's a trebuchet, another unit of peasant bowmen, and this is where I changed my list a little bit. Usually I have 3 units of bowmen, and I traded in one of those lists and got rid of points in other places so I could field a second damsel, which you will see in just a minute. Which ironically wasn't necessary in this game because he had no magic. But anyway, I'm building an all-comers list and decided I needed more magic defense. So on the left of the hill I have a 9-man unit of Knights of the Realm. There's an 8-man unit of Knights Errant, and again my BSB is normally with that unit, but I couldn't do that this game. I've got a big block of men-at-arms. That little token you see behind him just means there's an extra guy, because I had a few extra points. Got some fast cav on the left, a 6-man unit of Knights Errant, and then my general on his Pegasus at the far left. So what I was thinking was, I don't really understand what he's doing. He's got that big unit of trolls and all these goblins behind him. I kind of assumed goblins would be a screening unit. So I'm just going to use my Pegasus Knights to take care of his war machines. I'm going to use my Grail Knights on this side and my small block of Knights Errant on the other side to come in from the flanks and just cram down the middle with my big blocks. So that's what I'm thinking. He had the choice of who to go first. He let me go first. I think he was thinking that I wouldn't get my ward save, but that isn't the case. As long as I allow my opponent to choose, I get my ward save. So regardless, that's why I'm going first. So in the middle you can see I moved up just a little bit. I pushed the big block of men-at-arms up because I'm going to need them to guard my flank, and they can't move as quickly as my big blocks can. So on this far left side, I know that fast cav is a hassle to deal with. What I was wanting to do is set my general up so that his fast cav wouldn't affect me too much. And between my general and my fast cav, I just want to keep those guys from charging my Knights Errant so my Knights Errant can turn and at least threaten the flank of those big blocks of infantry. And take the flank if I can support it with a front charge somewhere. So, Orc and Goblin turn 1, you can see he took his Spider Riders and they're in the middle of those woods. His other Wolf Riders, he put guarding his scrap launcher. His Goblin you can see suffers from animosity. Otherwise, he pushed everybody forward very aggressively. And you can see how he's using his fast cav to try to screen his guys. And the same over here. So again, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I'm not sure what else to do except to just cram my big blocks right into those trolls and try to get an overrun into the units behind them. Although it looks like it's a pretty good distance, but anyway, that's what I was looking at, kind of what I was thinking. So, huge surprise here. I've never played against fanatics. I've heard of the things before. What a rude, rude surprise they were. So when I charge both blocks into the trolls, my second unit, the one you don't see, hasn't made it yet, because as soon as the first unit went there, I stopped because I was 8 inches away from his goblins that you see in the upper left, and he let out with 3 fanatics. And I think one landed on his trolls, another went through the trolls and landed where my second block is going to end up, and the one that's closest to my side of the table went through the trolls, through that knight errant unit, and it popped out where my other big block of knights is going to end up. So what happened was the unit you see is going to take d6 strength 5 hits. The unit you don't see is going to land on top of those goblins and end up taking 4d6 strength 5 hits. Yeah, and if you notice too, his trolls don't take too much damage. He regen saved almost everything that hit him. So that is before combat. That's just after the goblins. Just absolutely crazy. I think let's see, I had 8 guys in the knight errant unit, so I have 2 left. I lost 6. Yeah, so he must have rolled a 6 on that d6, or I might have had a couple come through there. Either way, yeah, I think I had a couple come through there. Anyway, whatever. You can see the devastation. They absolutely tore me up. Oh, it was horrible. And then I found out that trolls vomit, and that kind of attack negates any kind of armor save. So that's not good. So on my turn 2 on this side of the board, I figure I'll just rush his fast cav that's guarding his scrap launcher. I'm not worried about them. I charge his bolt thrower. I take my skirmishing bowman into the woods, hoping to redirect those spider riders and buy my trebuchet a couple turns. Bring my grail knights. They actually charged that unit of fast cav who fled, so I'm sitting there. And you can see I repositioned on my left flank just to get ready for those things. I figure his Ubla Khan fast cav wolf riders there in the middle on that hill are going to charge my knights errant. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I wasn't really that afraid of it. Don't know why. They've hurt me before. So after combat, I don't know why this picture was taken there, because I'm pretty sure I tore up the wolf riders in combat and overran into the scrap launcher. The bolt thrower was destroyed. These guys killed everybody except what you see, and they broke. God, that was devastating. That's a bad turn too, and I went first. So on his turn, you can see he took a spiderizer and charged my bowman. I just held, because if I fled, he was just going to chase me down anyway. He charged my bolt thrower, which caused the damsel to flee even more, and the remaining knight errant just to flee. I mean, he couldn't recover, so he's off the board. Luckily for me, his wolf riders there on the hill suffered from animosity, and so they couldn't charge my knights errant. And I thought that was just going to be huge for me. I thought that was going to turn the game and let me get back in this thing. So if you look at that, this is really how it looked on my turn. So I took my knights errant on the very far left. You can barely see their tip, and I charged into those wolf riders. And I took my general and charged into the flank of the wolf riders, thinking that if they held, I would beat them in combat, get to turn my general and take both of those guys into the front of that big block of infantry that he has. In hindsight, I don't think that's a smart idea, because even then he's got static 6, and even though my wounds should make up for it, there's really no reason to go into a fight hoping you can tie it. So anyway, other side of the board, you can see his spider riders beat my bowman, and that's what we're looking at. On his turn, over here, he beat my battle standard bearer easily and chased him down. So I'm don't like having that big group of trolls behind my lines. And that's really how the board looks after the end of his turn 2. And I'm thinking, I'm really in trouble here. I don't know. I think I was really just freaking out. Don't know how to get my guys together to do something about this. So I told you how I charged. Took that unit of Knights Errant on the left, charged into his Wolf Riders. That's what I was looking at. And he fled with them, fled through all 4 of those units. So my general went directly towards where they fled, and so he didn't get to help with the big infantry block. And that's when I realized the mistake, because those Knights Errant don't have a prayer. I mean, they don't even have a banner. They're going to get wasted. It did cause one Night Goblin unit to flee. The big blocks of Orcs, of course, didn't even have to take a test, and the other Night Goblin unit was fine. And at that point is when I found out he had 2 more Fanatics in that other Night Goblin unit. So we'll see how that turns out.